Hello everyone, this is Sinema77, horror and cult film lover. I'm back with another movie review. I haven't done one of these for a while, and I just got done checking out this new two-disc limited edition of the original uncensored version from Blue Underground. We have the, I believe it's, 1969 movie, Love Camp 7. Yeah, I haven't done one of these Nazi-ploitation movies for quite a while, and I just thought this one would be interesting to talk about. Um, Yeah, this one is it's one of the 72 original video nasties. That's something. And overall this movie, it's it's interesting. I'll give it that. Nazi exploitation movies, I have to admit, are not my favorite subgenre of movies. After a while, they almost kind of feel like, I would probably have to venture to say that probably the best one I've seen would probably have to be Ilsa, She Wolf of the SS. But it almost does feel like after a while, after you've seen these kind of movies, they almost kind of tend to have the same plot and kind of just the same elements. The only difference is some of those movies are, usually like, like Italian productions or Spanish productions or what have you. This one here definitely seems like an American production. I believe it is. Let's see. The movie is produced and the original story is written by R.W. Cressy. Cressy? Cresse. And he also stars in the movie as the commandant of the camp with Maria Leese, Kathy Williams, Bruce Kemp, John Aderman, and Roger Steele. Now, the story takes place in it says present day, but you could tell this was pretty. I think for this movie, present day was like 1968 or something like that when the movie was made. And you have this British, I guess he's like a lieutenant, I guess, and he's talking to this American man, and they're kind of like talking about swapping war stories back and forth, and the American notices on the wall, which the ADR is hilarious in this. I mean, it's like the man is talking, and you could clearly see that the sync doesn't add up, and the man's talking, and it's got this really like thick Southern accent. Oh my God, there, General, what did you do there during the war? That kind of thing. And so he notices this map on the wall behind him, and behind the British lieutenant, and he's all like, that kind of looks there like one of them, war maps and stuff. And so the British lieutenant goes on to explain that, like he had this, he had this map pretty much there the entire time, and so he's all like, and there's another guy saying with him is like, I don't think well, the lieutenant's like, I don't think I want to sit here and bore you with my war stories. And the other man's like, oh, you're just being modest. Go ahead and tell him. I think he'd love to hear it. And the American's like, oh, you betcha. I'd love to hear it. So he goes into the story. And apparently during World War II, what ended up happening was there was a situation where this scientist who was working under Stahl, I think it was, anyway, they were developing something. I'm sorry, I forget this part. Please forgive me my ignorance. But it had something to do with like fighter planes, like creating fuel for fighter planes to make them go faster or something like that. And so when he died, that he was working with this assistant named Martha Grossman, and this Martha Grossman, she knows everything. Every detail about this, this fighter fuel and everything else. Well, the thing is they need to get this information so that they can, they can continue the research and finish the work and everything else. And then this would help, help defeat the Nazis. So what they end up doing is they find out that Martha Grossman has basically been sent to Love Camp 7. Which, I can't honestly tell you how historically accurate this is. I don't know if there was really love camps during World War II where Jewish women were rounded up. It's possible. I wasn't around during World War II. I don't know all the details. I'm not, sure as hell I'm not going to sit here and act like I do know. But it's like maybe there might have been like camps where they took Jewish women and used them as prostitutes for the Third Reich. But it's, I mean, it's totally possible, I guess. Like I said, I wasn't there, but at the same time, though, too, it's like it would kind of seem out of character for Nazis to do something like that. Like they would look at everything I've ever heard, or everything I've heard through history class or movies or whatever. Usually, Nazis always looked at Jewish people, even the women, as just vermin. They were just the lowest bottom of the barrel life forms you can imagine. They just needed to be wiped out. But it's possible. But anyway, they set it up these love camps, and then what would happen is like the Germans would rotate, and like some of them would come out of fighting, and they would take vacations and go to these love camps where they would eat and drink, and and use these Jewish women as prostitutes and everything else. So they'd end up they say, well, we think that Martha Grossman is actually in this Love Camp 7. We believe that she's there, and what we want to do is we want to send in 2 female officers undercover into, I believe it's Germany. We want to send them in there, and we want to get them in there and see if they can get Martha Grossman out, or at the very least, we want to see if they can obtain the information and get it back to us so we can continue the work. And so you have the British lieutenant. He's talking to he's dealing with America. He's dealing with the French, and he's dealing with Russia, and all 4 of them are pretty much in an agreement on this. And so they ask, well, how are you going to get women to go over there, and stuff like that? And they said, well, we got these 2 women. They already know the details, and they're going to go in there, and they're going to obtain the information and stuff. So they bring in the two soldiers, female soldiers, and one is Grace Freeman, and the other one is Linda Harmon. Sorry, I promise I did see the movie. I know it doesn't seem like it, but I did see it. So anyway, so they bring them in, and they explain that the women are both fluent in French and German, which adds nothing to the movie because pretty much everybody in this movie is speaking English and stuff. Maybe a couple of actors in the movie, R.W. Kress or Cressy, he does put on something of a German accent. I can't say it's the most believable one I've ever heard, but he does put on an accent. You got a couple of them put on accents, but then you got some of them who are supposed to be Nazis and everything, and French and all this, and they just have no accent. They speak just regular, English, whatever. But, it's explained that they're fluent in those languages. They're fluent in karate, which kind of plays just a tiny little bit into the movie, not much. It doesn't really help the women at all. But it is explained to the women that, you are going to go in, you're going to go in there, you're going undercover. You basically have to do whatever they tell you to do, which is funny because if you watch this movie, it doesn't exactly go to plan. But, you have to go in there, and whatever they tell you to do, you have to do it. You have no choice. So, and the women have basically like total recall. They can memorize anything. So, and so they're talking about, so he gives them just like, I'm sorry about that. Just something had to be taken care of. Anyway, getting back to what we were talking about. So also too, it's noted that the 2 female soldiers have total recall, and that they can pretty much memorize anything. And at one point, they're like, well, we're going to show you that, these women can memorize anything. So, he gives them a book and tells them, here, he's like, I believe it's the French general. He's like, General, what's your age? He's like 47. So it's like, girls, turn to page 47 and read it and memorize everything until I tell you to stop. So they start reading. And so they kind of go on and explain and talk and everything. And then finally he tells the girls, okay, stop now. And he's like, go ahead and tell me, go ahead and tell me everything that you read. And so they recite word for word everything that they read on the page. And so it's like, okay, they're convinced. So they're like, okay, well, I guess we're going to do this. So the women are dropped in, they're dropped in, and then they're picked up by basically kind of like the French revolutionaries that are fighting against the Nazis. And, they go into their tent. They say, okay, you're going to be transferred over to you're going to go into this restaurant. That's where the Nazis are going to arrest you, and then they'll take you into the camp and things like that. And so, they're giving them this information, like this is Martha Grossman, and so they're like, how are we? Can you give us something so that we can convince her that we're on her side? And so he's like, well, you're going to be very thoroughly searched and everything else when you get inside the camp, so we can't give you anything. But here's the thing, we understand that you both have perfect memory, so we're going to give you, here's information like names and people that she worked with and everything else, and you can use this and be able to get her to trust you. And so they're like, okay, so they read this, and at one point, he gives them clothes and tells them, okay, go ahead and change your clothes. And the girls are, like, well, where can we change it? And he's all like, you girls got to understand something. It's like, now's not the time for modesty. Now's not the time for being shy or any of that kind of stuff. It's like, for the next 5 days, you girls are basically, forgive my language, but this is from the movie. You girls are going to be whores for the Third Reich. So, you got to go in there. Now's not the time to sit here and try to be all modest and everything else. So the girls, they finally accept into it, and they, strip down. That's one thing you're going to see a lot of in this movie. So female nudity, abundant, plenty of it, full frontal, everything else. That's why, that I think pretty much, I think that's the biggest reason why this movie ended up on the Video Nasties list, is all the nudity and stuff like that. And and according to the back of the box here, it even says that, it's still banned even today. Yeah, banned in Britain until this day. So, but anyway, so moving along, the movie does it doesn't really get too bogged down in the details, but the two girls, Linda and Grace, they get into the love camp, and, there's a funny scene, and I forget, I think it was either Kim Newman or Stephen, who mentioned it on the Video Nasties documentary. It's like, there's a part where, the women are being showered, basically, like, they're just, being sprayed with a water hose, and you got these Nazi guards with a dog, and it's funny because, they mention, it's like, it's kind of funny because the dog is, the dog is supposed to be snapping at the women to keep them in line and all, but you could clearly see the dog is more like snapping at the spraying water. How like if you're outside, you're spraying your yard, and the dog sits, like bites at the water and stuff. It's the same thing. But anyway, so the girls, they're brought in, and Chris, he's playing the commandant. He's, telling them, like, this is what's going to happen. You girls are going to be here to satisfy the soldiers, and then if you do this, you do a good job satisfying here, you'll be moved somewhere else and satisfied more, and so on. And if you don't, you're going to be punished and everything. So the women are forced to physicals by this. They said, well, we're not going to be inhumane. We'll get you this, we'll get you a German nurse and everything. And it turns out this big, huge, really, very butch woman, and so they're kind of like, one of the girls resists, and she gets later tortured. But pretty much all the girls are basically like forced onto the desk, and they're given these physicals and stuff. And, the commandant, he's kind of, taunting the women at the same time as well. And so, once that's all over, they get put into the rooms, and then these other girls that are there with them start explaining like what's going on. And so, then they bring in the girl who tried to run away, or she resisted being, given the physical too. And so they put her on, what was it, the seat of honor? I think that's what they call it, which basically it kind of looks like it's like a wooden, it kind of looks something almost like a sawhorse, like when you're doing, like you're doing repairs around your house, you need to cut like a piece of plywood or something like that. You put them on sawhorses, so you can cut it. It looks something like that. So they tie a rope to the ceiling, and, they got her hands hanging up, and they put her on this thing. And so she has to stay there the entire night. So then, they get through the night, and at one point, Linda, out of the two girls, Linda kind of tends to be the one that kind of doesn't really do very well in this situation. Grace does a little bit better. Grace is like when because they tell the women specifically, do not help this woman. Don't do anything to help her. As soon as they're out the door, Linda gets up and she tries to give her water to drink. And the commandant sees this, and he, gets really pissed off. He makes all the girls stand in a circle, butt naked, and they have to hold up these buckets. And then, they have to hold it for so long. And the first one that, like, their arm gets tired and they drop the bucket, then, they're going to be beaten. And so it's like they're all trying and everything. So, and because Linda was the one who helped tried to help the woman, pretty much the commandant decides that she's going to get the abuse. So he starts beating on her, whipping her, and all this stuff. And then, so when all that mess is done, then, these two, you got these two guards. One is named Gotthard, I believe that's how you say it. And he's the guy, he's kind of like the German soldiers. Some of these Nazi-ploitation movies sometimes had this kind of character. You had like the German soldier who was like very conflicted, and he didn't want to do the torturing. He didn't want to do the killing or any of that kind of stuff. And, he didn't really believe wholeheartedly into what, the Nazis were doing. And so, but at one point, they're forced to pick a girl and have sex with him. And so this one guy, this big, fat, nasty guy, he gets hold of Linda. And so, and the funny part is, and what I mentioned a little while ago, is like, when they were telling these girls, like, you have to pretty much go along with whatever these guys want. It's clear that Linda is totally not into this. She's not, it's like, I mean, obviously, she's not into it. You would not expect her to be into it. But in these kind of circumstances, usually it's like they have to act. They have to at least pretend that they're into it and stuff like that. And it was explained to them that this was what they were going to have to do. Well, apparently Linda isn't going along with it too well. It's like she's really trying to refrain from pushing the guy off of her. And meanwhile, Goddard, he's with Grace. And so he's, I have to do this and all this stuff. Even though we see later in the movie, he's trying to put in a transfer, and his transfers keep getting denied because he doesn't believe in really what's all going on here. But it doesn't stop him from, continue on. So he and Grace have, they're having sex and everything. And one thing that I'm going to tell you about this movie, if you haven't seen it already, and for those who have seen it, I think you already know what I'm talking about here. One thing about this movie is that the obviously the selling point of this movie is seeing the beautiful women. Okay. These guys are pretty gross, and, it's like when you see the sex scenes and everything, it's funny because the men manage to keep their pants on, which, I mean, actually I'm fine with, because I really don't want to see naked guys. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be phobic or anything like that. It's just, I'm sorry. I'm just not interested in seeing naked dudes. The selling point is the women, the naked women, seeing the beautiful women. That's what you want to look at. And the women they're beautiful. They're gorgeous and they're lovely to look at. And, and the director and cameraman, who is R.L. Frost, you can tell, like, he's constantly like trying to find within the scene, he's constantly trying to find these creative, innovative ways to show the nudity and to show the beauty of the woman and how she looks and everything else. So, and then finally they come in the next day and they finally take the girl off of the seat of honor. And so, she's all like, I'll do anything you want. I'll do anything you want. And so the commandant is like, okay, then lick my boots. And so now, the girls, they get placed into this room where there's kind of like these little, almost kind of like little sectionals where they have, kind of like bunk beds and stuff. And, so these, gross, Nazi guys are coming in to have sex with the girls. And, one, like there's two girls, Grace is like on the bottom bunk, or no, Grace is on the top bunk. I'm sorry. Grace is off the top bunk and the other girl's on the bottom. Well, he pulls Grace off of the top bunk, puts her into the bottom bunk so he can get in there with both girls. And so they're doing that. And in the meanwhile, this, gross guy goes in and he's trying to, have sex with Linda. And Linda, she's really like, she's refusing it. She's not having any of it. She doesn't like it at all. And she finally hits the point where she's going to fight back. And so she starts, oh, you Nazi pig and everything else. It's like, woman, you're going to regret this and all this stuff. And so, one of the guards comes in and he takes her off and takes her into, another room to be detention center to be tortured. And I'm sorry, but I'm already about 20 minutes, so I'm going to have to do a part 2 to this. So if you guys watched all this, I thank you for doing it. I appreciate you for doing it. I hope you're enjoying the review so far. I promise I'll wrap it up in the next video. Until then, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.